But I'm going to go through and take out anything that does not belong in the living room. I'm going to get rid of that first and then put that in the appropriate space. I'm working today with my good friend Jen, who owns a professional organizing company. So her team is actually upstairs organizing some of the spaces that we worked on yesterday. So there's a lot of like kid stuff down here. So I'm going to get all that out of here so that we're only working with what's going to be relevant for the living room space. I'm at the point where I'm going to start moving some of this furniture around in here just because I've got enough of it cleared out. It's not totally clear. There's just so much stuff going on upstairs still. So we're limited in space, but part of this process is playing a little bit of Tetris, rearranging and rearranging again to make sure everything is situated in the best possible place and just trying different things out. So it's not a perfect process because it's organic and you're working with what is here. So I'm going to start moving this around now and then hopefully have a better flow and systemized space that maximizes the storage, the very limited storage space they actually have in this living room. So this table does not make sense over here because, first of all, it takes up too much space. The sofa is literally at the very bottom of the stairs. So it makes it a very tight entrance and exit from the living room from upstairs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this out of the way for now. Not exactly sure where it's going to go, but it's not going to go where it was. So I'm just going to get this out of the way because what I'm going to do instead, I'm actually going to float that sofa along this wall over here in front of the window and create more of a space. Now, there might be another idea too I thought about last night is just pulling the sofa up and floating out the wall so that you have an entrance and exit behind the sofa instead of having to walk in front and through the middle of the living room if you want to leave, which disrupts, television watching, gathering, hanging out. But the more I thought about it, the more I think that if we do that, I'm going to have to move this sofa like all the way up in front of the stairs and kind of center it on this wall, which is going to completely eliminate this table altogether. We will not have room for it. So I might still try that just to see what it looks like, but I think ultimately I'm going to end up putting the sofa on the wall over by the front door, like the front door is right over here, so that it opens the space up and allows her kids and her to like have room to move around in the actual living room instead of trying to just come down into the side of the sofa. It's not a very comfortable feeling when you come in here. It feels very, very cramped. Might also try to float it this way and put the back of the sofa facing there. But the only problem is that this is such a tight space right here where the television is. And this is such a huge sofa. She has other sofas in storage, but this is like the smallest one that she has. So we're going to work with what we got and make it make as much sense as possible using what we already have in our hands. So that's the goal for this right now. I'm going to start just kind of scooting this around town and see where it looks the best and feels the most logical. I just moved the sofa up a few feet and have it floating like along the railing of the staircase. And while that doesn't feel terrible, this giant coffee table is so big. It's a very cramped space, like here. This is very close together, right? It doesn't feel good. And I pushed the sofa down towards the window. My original thought was to have like a walk around on that side, but it wasn't enough room. It still felt like, why is this there? It's not enough space to really walk by comfortably. Kind of like have to like turn your body. So what I think I'm going to do is just go along with my original idea and put this on the back wall over here by the window. I think that's going to make the most sense. Okay, this is almost finished. As you can see behind me, it looks very, very different than it did just a couple of hours ago. I am going to be changing out these curtains most likely just because they do not match and they're not very good quality. Also, these rods are not super great, so we'll probably raise them a little bit, add some longer curtains that she has from her other house.